Overkill with your host, Theresa Hong. Sorry RC cannot be here today. I am hosting from, obviously, the Partisan, where I always host. Come on down Main Street, strong libations, great people, great staff. Today, I have two very special guests. One has already been on Overkill. The other one has not. Rob Hypes, GB Blackmon III, both Playhouse, artistic director, actor. Yeah. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome back, Rob.
Thanks for having me back.
Oh, you're so welcome.
I'm enjoying it.
You'll always be welcome.
Yay!
So today, what we're going to talk about, obviously we're going to talk about GB because he hasn't been on. Yeah. But the reason why we have Rob on is because right now at Playhouse Merced, you guys are doing an awesome play, The Piano Lesson, August Wilson.
Yes.
All right. Tell us about it.
Piano Lesson is a show written by August Wilson. He's one of the most predominant African American playwrights of just all time. He wrote a play called The Piano Lesson, which basically deals with a family's piano that's been in their family for generations, dating back all the way from slavery to the 1930s. And the play deals with the brother of that family coming to Pittsburgh to get the piano to sell it, and the sister that doesn't want to sell the piano and wants the piano to remain as a reminder of what her family went through over the last 50 years or so. And so it's a comedy, drama, it's got music numbers, it's got anything you ever want in a show.
Supernatural too.
The little supernatural elements are in there. Yeah. It's one of my favorite shows.
Why is it one of your favorite shows?
I think it's beautiful. August Wilson was a beautiful writer, and just the way he writes is so musical to me, and it's so natural. And I've always enjoyed his work, and it was one of the first shows that I saw when I was in college, which kind of, after seeing that show, then I kind of wanted to do theater for the rest of my life.
So that propelled you into theater?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
It made me make
powerful.
my decision between law and theater.
Law and the theater.
Yeah.
Good God, that's a whole other conversation.
Actually, law, theater, psychiatry, or repelling.
Repelling?
Yeah.
All right. Wow, so you've got...
We find you repellent anyway.
Aww.
That's what I hear. So that's what I hear.
don't. He's very lovable.
Thank you. I'm
Yes.
lovable deep down.
Deep down.
Deep down.
Deep down. But I love you.
Well, thank you. I love you too.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
are a delight.
As are you.
Thank you.
So Piano Lesson plays this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Okay. And it's actually one of my favorites as well. Now, I had absolutely no idea what the play was about. I really wasn't familiar with August Wilson. And once I read it, I thought, oh my gosh, this is so powerful, but also such a great work of theater to bring to Merced.
Well, it's a great story for the Playhouse to tell, because it is one of the first times in the last 20 years that we've done an entirely African American cast, which is in this area, which is a fantastic thing to do for this area, as we continue to try to engage all the other different cultures in the area that aren't just like, white people. So that's kind of why I enjoy doing that. Enjoy doing shows like that continually like reach out to everyone in the community and get people in to come see some live theater.
Sure. Yeah. Now, and GB, you play Boy Willie.
Yes.
The brother that Rob was talking about.
Yes.
And tell me, now you were a champion for this play coming to Merced, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And tell me why.
When I saw it with Rob and Joe probably last summer, and it was my first time ever seeing, I'll say an all-black show, because I don't count anything like church-wise or nothing like that. And I had no idea who August Wilson was or anything like that. And watching the show made me go and look him up immediately, and realizing, wow, there's this great show and all these other great plays that this guy's written and run Pulitzers for that's not really being seen. Because what I also looked up was to see where they might be playing somewhere else, and these shows never get done. And,
Really?
I mean, not really in areas around here. You'd have to go to the South or anywhere towards that part of the United States to find shows and stuff like that.
Why do you think that is?
I think that is because, and I was telling Rob this, I just feel this way, African Americans don't act anymore. We're in other facets of music and things like that. But trying to find people like myself, it's kind of hard, or they stumble onto it kind of like how I did. And I think it's sad because I think there's a lot of just natural talent that goes unseen because no one's going out there and talking to people or getting people like Lamont, who's awesome in this show.
And what does Lamont play?
He's Lamont's whining boy, and he's some of the best comic relief in the show, and he's natural at it. If you're meeting him in person, you would think he was just a character because how he is on stage is exactly how the character is anyway. So it's awesome. But we would have never found him if we hadn't if Rob hadn't gone out and found him and looked for him and everything like that. So that's what I mean when I say there's not a lot.
I just walked into a cigar store.
Yeah.
I walked into Cigar Monkey, and I'd been told by Dan. Yeah, Cigar Monkey. And I talked to Dan and Jim Core, who knew him, and they're like, this guy would be great. And then one day I was walking to the cigar store, and I saw that he was walking in, and Jim and I were like, Lamont, come here. I want to talk to you. Yeah.
So it wasn't just some strange
Yeah.
black guy coming
which I had done previously.
Hey man, you want to do a play?
That didn't really work out sometimes. When I would walk up to people on the street, I would be like, "Hey, you want to do a show? You want to do a play?"
So what was Lamont's reaction?
Lamont's just like the most laid back guy of all time. So he's just kind of like, "That's cool, man. Yeah, I'll do it."
And that's his character.
And that's his character in the show. I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah, he's perfect."
He just wants to have a good time.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
typecasting.
And tell me more about your character with Boy Willie.
Boy Willie is, I would say, the misunderstood character of the whole show. He's very young and ignorant, but he wants to do something what he feels is important. He wants to take back the land that his ancestors worked on, slaved on, and he sees his only opportunity selling the heirloom piano. But
Tell me more about the piano.
The piano it's beautifully carved. Corey did it and did an awesome job. Corey Strauss. It's this beautifully carved piano with all these depictions of different parts of their family history, like a funeral, birth, pictures of the great grandmother and then the great great grandmother and the great grandfather, and just different things that have happened to them are carved on this piano. And
So it's basically the entire history of this family, all
history.
carved onto the piano. And Corey Strauss, who's our one of our set designer, he did an amazing job making that actually come to life on our stage. He did it. It's beautiful.
Fantastic
It looks
job.
absolutely beautiful.
And,
But I don't want to tell you how he did it because that would spoil the magic
Right.
of
we're
live
not
theater.
we're not going to tell, but just go and look at it because it's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think that it is just as an important character, I think, as any of you guys up on stage.
Absolutely, it's always present. It's always there. It's never it's because it's huge in relation to anything else on stage. So it's always there, and GB mentions it a lot.
Yes.
In the show,
that and watermelons.
every 3 lines, something
and
about a
watermelons.
piano. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is. It's when I went to go see it last Sunday, and I was very, very impressed. Not only with the cast, but just with this just kind of person character that just took up so much of the play and just really, really, I mean, there's a soul. Well, there really are souls. I mean, those are, it's obviously several different souls that are in there. So,
It's a
which
very
is
spiritual play too.
Yeah.
So the show's very spiritual, and it deals a lot. It doesn't deal a lot, like particularly with religion so much as spirituality
Yes.
and
Yes.
kind of that aspect too is kind of always interesting to me.
It is.
As
it
I'm
is.
told by Al Day, is shows that I enjoy doing that have highly spiritual.
Well, and it really is, and it to me, it's very much obviously about legacy and just all of these I don't know. I mean, I think the piano represents a lot of angst between you and your sister, played by Michelle Allison.
Yeah.
but also just represents a lot of, you can see the love in it, but you can also see the hate. And so there's just kind of this love-hate, and I think it almost represents a relationship that you have with your sister.
Right.
You know, this very kind of love-hate type relationship that, you know, and then just, okay. So tell me then about, you know, what do you want to do with the piano? I know Rob kind of touched on that, but what does Michelle want to do with it too?
Michelle wants to just keep it at the house. It's just like Rob was saying earlier, just as a sign of this is what our family legacy is. This is our history. This is everything that we have. And I want to sell it to get back the land that our family worked on, which is, in my mind, just equally as important because we spent our whole lives working and giving away basically free labor. And he even says in one of the lines is, I get to keep all the cotton this time. I get to keep all of what I need. Yeah.
Because basically his character comes to Pittsburgh because Sutter, whose family owns the land, has given him 2 weeks to purchase it. And so he's come to Pittsburgh with a truck full of watermelons to sell. And once he sells those watermelons and he has some money saved, all he needs to do after that is sell that piano, and then he'll have enough. So that's kind of the crux of the whole conflict of the show is, I'm going to do all this. Once I sell this piano, I now have enough to go do this. So.
Yes, and that's kind of your legacy and your, you know, kind of, I would say, redemption for what has happened to your family. So there's very, you know, and that's really, really interesting. And I also find it really interesting that it's 1936 Pittsburgh. So obviously it was more progressive up north than it was down south. And I think it's really interesting what August Wilson does and how you bring the character to life, that you want to go back there. You want to go back to that hostile environment.
Which is really interesting because right around that same time period in the 30s and late 20s, that's where this huge migration started happening up north.
Yes.
For a lot of African American families, they started moving up north away from the South in order to like kind of start new and start working in these other cities and reinvent themselves.
Yes.
So it's an interesting historical lesson too, and that's also what's interesting about his characters. Yeah, no, I'm going to go back down there and I'm going to purchase this and I'm going to work it and it's going to be mine.
Yeah.
It's going to be my legacy.
Exactly.
And I thought that was one of the most interesting aspects of the play, was that you were almost this like angrier version of like, you know, this Martin Luther King kind of character, to where, you know, you were angry, you're young, you're ignorant, but at the same time you have this very MLK vision of, no, you know, this is mine. I can have this. You know, nobody's going to treat me the way that, you know, I'm going to take a hold of my own destiny. And I thought that was really, really powerful. Yeah. No, that's awesome. So tell me now, okay, so Playhouse Merced, it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yes.
Friday and Saturday, 7:30.
7:30.
Matinee Sunday.
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
Yep.
Yes.
Only 3 more performances.
Yes. You guys have to come see it, you know, and seriously,
Right.
yeah, and for all, you say it, for all the freaking African American people
Well, honestly,
in Merced that
they-
say that there's nothing
out
there.
Alday said it best. Come see this show. It's a black show. Blackity black. But a lot
My
of
college friends.
African American.
We're doing a lot of shout outs for LJ.
Right?
But honestly, I've seen more African American people come to see this show than I've seen any other show, which makes me happy.
And what's their reaction?
They love it.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Very positive.
All positive feedback, and I was worried with with the use of the N-word and things like that, and people who move beyond that, you know, sometimes can't understand and see why the character is this way. I mean, it's 1937. He's not going to be. So whatever.
His character does say that word a lot as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
But people who I wouldn't have never imagined would have liked the show, like my mother, she loved it, and different church people who I know have come to see it have just adored the show, and it made me really happy to know that people are appreciating what we're doing. And
well, I appreciate what you guys are doing, because to your point, you know, at the beginning of this podcast, you had said that, you know, you really can't get these types of shows anywhere but the South. And I think that it's very interesting to me, you know, looking at some of the white audience and really them not knowing how to react. I mean, they are very, very, they don't know whether to laugh during the funny parts or whether to, I think there's such a cultural disconnect, and not just because of, the ethnic part of it, but I think also because of the time period.
Yes.
And just the use of the N-word and that kind of thing. And, what would you tell the white folk about coming to see it? Because seriously, I think a lot of people are a little bit afraid to go and see it because they don't know. There's a text. They don't know how to react.
Honestly, I look at it this way: it's a show. If it's funny, laugh. If you want to clap, clap. If you want to do all that, do that. Don't feel afraid to just because it's a black show. I mean, I don't feel that way when I go see Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. If something's funny to me, I'm gonna laugh at it. Or if something's sad to me, I'm gonna feel that way. But and that's my thing. But I feel that it's not so, like you're saying, it's not the ethnic thing. I think it's also because if you're Southern, you understand all the ghost stories. You understand that kind of,
because the ending
depiction.
is insane.
It is.
Yeah.
So it's funnier.
But we don't want to spoil it.
Yes.
No, we're not going to spoil it. It's
Absolutely
just
not.
insane. You need to come see it. Yeah. So, I often wondered that, when I was sitting there and I was watching it and even reading it and stuff, I was just thinking to myself, just, being in, the Central Valley, California, where a lot of people, there's the South. Most people were migrating north.
Yes.
They weren't really coming up to California. So there really is, I think, a different cultural identification, aesthetic. I mean, there's really something different. And that's why I think it's just so wonderful and so beautiful that you brought it here.
I think I think the show, and I think most of August Wilson's work is really interesting because I do think, one, just how he portrays just African American life and the different eras of the 20th century, because he wrote a play for every single decade of the 20th century. So I think that's interesting. So everything he writes is very distinctly African Americans. You don't ever see the people that are like, we're going to do an all-white production of Fences, or because it just doesn't work that way.
Right.
But also the way that he constructs stories, anyone's able to identify with the situation or some of the characters, because he writes so realistically. Like, we all have family members or know of family members or have friends that remind us very much of some of the characters that are in there. So I think anyone that can see the show can identify with any number of things in our version of Piano Lesson. They can identify it and they can enjoy it. Anybody can. But I do think it is very important, again, that we're doing this, because we haven't really done it before, and we're really excited about it, and we want to continue on doing projects that really will engage all the different culture aspects of Merced, because Merced is this great little melting pot that we have. And so I think it's great to continue doing work like that to try and reach out. But again, every great show ever written, I think anyone can really identify with it at some level. I mean, I identify with the show just like anytime I watch it and read it. And
What character do you identify with the most?
I identify with the Doker character the most. He's the voice of reason, and he's generally the wisest and smartest person I feel in the show.
Did you get the eye roll?
And
Did you get my eye roll?
possibly the most attractive.
He looks
Possibly.
good. He looks good in a wife beater.
And so do I. Sorry. I think my narcissism is running out of control. I'll reel it back in.
That's okay.
I'll reel it back in.
So Doker.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. All right.
I identify with him. And he has some beautiful material in the show too. So everyone in the show has just beautiful material. It's a fantastic show to watch.
It is, and I'll tell you, I mean, even as a female, I think I identify the most with Boy Willie. I think that, I would be one of those people to where it's like, hey,
Really aggressive.
I am.
When you interview me, I feel aggression.
Are you intimidated?
I'm very intimidated right now.
I'm doing my job
I'm
then.
just-
Drink your beer. Drink it. There you go. Put it down. All right. Thanks. No, I think I identify with Boy Willie the most, only because I think that there is, I've never had you know, a very materialistic point of view on you know, on things, on you know, I would like to, you know, create. I mean, I value friends and I value family and I value like, okay, future, and how can we, you know, go about to create a future that nobody's going to have to worry about anything again, you know, and how can we make things better? And I really, you know, identify with that. I mean, I think that that's really, really strong. You know, I think that Bernice, you know, the sister, I think it's great too, but it's kind of like holding on to this past, that what's that going to do, you know? So, yeah. And do you, I assume you identify with Boy Willie the most. I don't know.
It'd be crazy to say I didn't, but I also see Bernice's side. I really do, because my family's had arguments very similar to, you know, when my grandma passed away and we're getting rid of all of her things, and we can't get rid of this, we can't get rid of that. Well, why? This is because this is why, and there's a story behind something, and holding on to this, and it's, you know, I understand that, and it's things that you'll never see again, that won't be made again, that only exists one time, and you can't just let go of that just because you need it for something else, or you just don't want to deal with it, especially when it's an important piece of family history. You'll never, and he says it in himself in the show, you'll never find another piano like it. So why give something like that up that has all that beautiful history wrapped up in it? Yes, it's sad, but it's also as a triumph that your dad got it out of the house, that it's in your house, and that you get to tell your niece about it, and possibly your own children about it.
Something really bad happens to the dad.
Yeah.
So see, come and see it. Come and see it. Come
Sorry
and see
for the
it.
spoiler.
Come and see it. Come and see it. No, just little bitty
Yeah,
spoilers.
little tiny
Just little
spoilers.
tiny spoilers.
I couldn't help it, but I understand that, but I also see Boy Willie's perspective, because he's chasing a dream, and who doesn't want to chase a dream? Who doesn't want to see something come true?
Not even chasing a dream. I think whether he realizes it or not, which is just so awesome. I mean, he's changing history. You know,
He doesn't realize that.
He doesn't. He doesn't.
So-
He doesn't.
Boy Willie is something else. That's all I have to say about him.
He is. He is.
He is something else.
Yeah, no, but I still think, though, you know, unbeknownst to him, he will change history if that happens. Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. So no, I think it's fantastic. I'm glad you guys are. I'm glad you're producing it. I'm glad you're acting in it. And then we're gonna talk a little bit more about you, GB. Yeah, but you stay, because we're gonna talk a little bit about Shrek too.
Yeah. I can
Yeah.
do that. I can do that.
Cool. Yeah. So GB Blackmon III, but you never. It's never the.
No.
It's just
That's
three
all.
eyes. Okay. All right. And that.
That's my dad's doing.
Yes, that's your dad's doing, and it doesn't stand for anything. GB.
I'll tell you, like I tell everyone else, I have researched my name because my dad never said anything, and my grandpa passed long before I could ever ask him. Nothing. My great-grandmother picked 2 letters as far as I know, and that's why I'm named the way that I'm named. I love it.
Because his first name is G.
G.
His
And my middle name is B.
is
yeah.
B. Yeah.
And then it's.
And then Blackman doesn't help anything else, and then I'm the third on top of it.
All
So.
right. It's a very distinguished name.
It's kind of like
I
very
keep hearing
British,
that.
Yeah, it is.
almost.
It is. I'd expect him to be a character like on Sherlock Holmes or something. Yeah.
Sir GB Blackman III has gone missing.
It's called Missing.
He's gone missing, and we must find
I
him.
must find.
I can totally see it. Totally see it. So, and you have acted in
Oh God.
how many plays?
If counting Playhouse and not Playhouse, almost 20 now.
Okay.
And Playhouse I've done the most at. And I started with Sweeney Todd, and then just kind of snowballed after that. And then I got to do Parade with Rob. That was my first Rob show.
Yeah.
And that was, I'd say that's the show that kind of springboarded me into wanting to do it.
Created the monster?
Yes.
Okay.
I've never played a villain before in the show.
All right.
And that was my first villain, and I loved every minute of it. It was,
What's been your favorite character that you've played so far?
it's a tie between Judas and Roger.
All right.
Judas because
And Judas was from.
Jesus Christ Superstar.
Okay.
Some people are there going,
Well, no, to be clarified, if you're a theater person, it might have been from Godspell, but no,
Yeah,
it's
that's
Jesus
true.
Christ Superstar. the way that when me and Rob talked about the show, wanting to play him more sympathetic, and made me completely rethink my idea of the person in general, because you don't know much about him, and you don't know if he was a good person, if he was a bad person. But the way I played him, he really cared the most about Jesus and
Yeah, I
didn't
never
want to
thought
see
he was
him
the
go.
villain. I always thought he was the hero.
Right?
Yeah.
In
I
a
always
weird
thought
way.
He was the protagonist of the. But that I'm weird about that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah. So Judas and Roger is from.
Roger's from Red, and I just recently played Roger before I
You were
took on
so
this one.
pissed off when you got.
I was. Oh, she had to talk me down from the edge. 'Cause talk me down and go, G, shut the. Stop it.
I don't want Roger.
If you don't stop it right now, I'm like, okay.
No, like, well, you can play him because you're being a bitch right now.
I was like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry.
But
You created a really good part.
Yeah.
I got to play him the way I thought he should be played, instead of him being Eeyore, because that's what I called him the whole time, because he's very depressed. He has AIDS. His girlfriend kills herself, and he's kind of there alone. But I wanted to make him a little bit more joyful, because he has all these great friends around him that are helping him through this terrible time, instead of just being so closed off from everything. And then this beautiful girl shows up in his life, so he doesn't have so much to complain about, does he? So I got to play him in a way that I don't think I've ever seen anyone play him before, except for maybe original.
Yeah.
And the reason why that's the show that propelled me into theater. I saw it when I was 18 years old, and I wanted to play Collins. I didn't even think about Roger.
Oh, I know you wanted to play.
And so when I got Roger, like you said, I was upset. But as time went along, I was like, wow, there's more to this character than what I give him credit for. And I'm glad, really, really glad that I got to take this chance and play this part, because I might not ever get that opportunity ever again. So thank you for yelling at me.
Thanks for making me feel
Thanks
like
for making
crap.
me feel like crap and making me do it. 'Cause
I
I'm so
appreciate
glad
it.
I did
That's
it.
why you call me Mama T.
That's why I call you Mama T.
Somebody's got to do it.
That
Sorry.
and for making me man up during JCS, because Jesus Christ was I a blubbering mess. And every show,
Jesus Christ.
she'd be on she'd be on there doing her dance moves. Stop it. And I'm like,
Quit
I was
it.
a soul angel. I was a soul angel. Jesus Christ, you're stuck. Yeah. No, you did. You did. No, there were only a couple. Yeah. It just made me laugh because you always sounded like the Cowardly Lion whenever you.
Jesus, I'm sorry.
This ain't Wizard of Oz. Shut up.
And
Man up.
Damn it.
I know. I'm sorry. But
No.
no, it was spectacular. Spectacular. So you act and you sing.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And when did you start that?
I started singing when I was 1.5 years old, according to my mom, and she showed me tapes when I got older of me singing just gospel stuff to my grandma and everything else
At
like
1.5?
that. At 1.5.
Were you saying words like as you were
You'd
singing,
get
or
every
were you-
third word, but you'd get the tune, so you know what gospel song it was at least.
All right.
Right? But she was, no, you were singing at 1.5. I'm like, okay, Mom, that doesn't make any sense, but if you say so. But I would sing the tune of songs. I'd get every about third word. You'd hear Jesus. Jesus is nothing else. So you'd be like, oh, okay, he is kind of singing.
Right.
And I just grew up singing in the church. And then when I was about 8, I got put in my first show, which I can never remember the name of because it's been so long now. But my aunt and my mom saw that I had all this energy and needed to do something with it. Sports wasn't really my thing, even though to my dad's chagrin. But my aunt saw it because I would tell her stories all the time and just kind of act out things. And she was like, we need to put him in theater. We need to put him in theater. And then I did my first show, and it was on public access in San Jose. And I did another show in high school, and then I just could never shake the feeling that I should be doing this. I should be doing this. And then I came to audition for Sweeney Todd.
And why did you come to audition here? I mean, you were from Los Banos.
I was from Los Banos. This was the closest thing, and I just started Costco, and I just couldn't get theater off of my mind after that point. And I was just like, I need to at least try for a show, and whatever happens, happens. If I don't get in, then I can at least say I tried and go on with my life. And Joe, Rob's brother, put me in the show, and I've been here ever since.
Now we can't get rid of you.
No.
All right, and now you're going to be in Shrek.
Yes.
So this is the Okay, so it's going to be Three Musketeers and then Shrek, or no, Shrek and then
Shrek and the Three
Okay,
Musketeers,
so
yeah.
Shrek is the next one. So
Yes.
Shrek opens up February
28th.
28th. Okay, so last day of February.
Yes.
Those that don't know that there aren't 31 days in February.
Or 30.
Yeah,
There's just 28,
28.
except for leap year.
Leap year. Yeah. So
This year's not leap year.
It's not.
I'm looking right at the camera just for the people that are really confused.
I know. Well, some people do.
Yeah. Well.
I saw a meme the other day about Facebook closed down for like February 29th, 30th, and 31st, and people were reposting. And I was like, motherfucker, really?
Oh.
Yeah. So anyway, so I just want to make that clear. Okay, last day of February. So what do you play? Who are you playing?
I'm Donkey, which I'm ecstatic about because I get to be as silly as I want to on stage which I don't think I've done here
I don't
yet.
think you've ever been silly on stage.
No.
You've always been really.
Dearly Departed. There we go. That's probably the silliest I've been
Yeah.
on stage.
That's true. That's true.
other
But this
than
is
that.
a different kind of silly.
Oh, this is my kind of silly.
All right.
I get to just run around and be a nut and say whatever comes to my mind.
You've
which-
wanted to be Donkey for a long time. Why?
I grew up loving Shrek. I love Eddie Murphy. He's one of my absolute favorite comedians. So when I heard about the musical.
But during the Raw days. During
The
the
Raw days.
during the Raw days.
You think I'm kidding? I was watching Raw when I was probably 9 or 10.
I think I was watching Raw when I was 9 or 10.
Yeah.
So
I like delirious.
So is Donkey gonna drop the F-bomb?
Nah, well, I mean that's gonna be the midnight showing.
Yeah.
Of Shrek.
not that Eddie Murphy. No, yeah, we're not. No.
Okay.
He likes old Eddie Murphy, but he's channeling.
I'm channeling family Eddie Murphy.
Family
He does
Eddie
all
Murphy.
the family movies. You know, Dr.
Yeah.
Doolittle, Daddy Daycare. You know.
Dave.
Oh.
Not Dave. Good God, not
the,
no.
The
no.
Adventures of Pluto Nash.
No, no, not that Eddie Murphy. We as in the black community pretend that didn't happen.
That there's this whole era it's the whole era that the black community just forgot Eddie Murphy
We
was.
just go. What we don't know what you talking about. Pluto
This is
Nash,
when he
that wasn't a thing.
disappeared. He disappeared during
Is that
this
a
point in
30s
time.
movie?
Yeah.
That's a 30s science fiction movie. That's interesting.
I don't understand.
Dave, no, we don't know any black Daves. I'm sorry.
No.
So.
Okay. So Shrek and who plays the ogre? Who plays Shrek?
Steven, I can never say
Mulieso.
his last. There it is.
Let me just say Moose.
Moose.
That's what we call
'cause That's
him.
what we call him.
Stephen Mulieso.
Mulieso. And
Cajun, and he's here.
I think it's like Canadian, right? It's like Canadian,
he's like
French,
French Canadian. Yeah.
But because it ends with the X,
It's very, yeah.
Distinction.
That's very, yeah.
yeah.
Creole.
Yes, it's Creole.
Creole spelling
French, yeah.
from the Bayou.
Yes, from the Bayou.
No, but I have a nephew. No, I have a nephew, and because my older brother's wife is from that area, from southern Louisiana, and they named their kid Moses. They named their
Okay.
kid Moses, and for short they call him Mo, but they spell it like Meaux. And I was always like, can't nickname a child with more letters than the actual name.
Right. That's what I say.
So, but that's what happens a lot in that part of the country,
Yes, I know.
Who are you telling?
right? You just add that.
Oh, really? You're telling me?
It's like rather than that, you just add an O,
Yeah.
and that stands for
then
the same
it's
thing
Just, just Mo.
because the X is silent.
Right. Yeah,
X is silent.
it is. It's always silent. And Creole.
And Creole Cajun speak. Creole Cajun speak.
Creole Cajun speak. Yeah. Gullah Gullah Island speak. I don't know.
I just got done.
I don't know. I'm just throwing shit out there now. I'm just thinking about all the names I know with the letter X, and truthfully, I think I know more than what I should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just going through like American Horror Story.
No, I'm not.
You're going
I'm
like,
not. No, I have.
What are the
I
names
have
in that
a
show?
Very, very dear friend. Her name is Phyllis Thibodeau, and it is like
Okay, yeah.
THIBEAUX.
Yep.
And I'm like, what the? I don't even know.
You're not supposed to spell those names.
I don't know. I
Spell
can't.
them.
I can't
No.
spell.
Don't worry about that. What were we talking about? I'm
We
sorry.
were talking about Shrek, and we were talking
Stephen
about
Mulieso.
Yes, yes, we were talking about Shrek and Stephen Mulieso.
Moose.
Moose.
But okay, so and that opens February 28th. You guys are in rehearsal right now.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And tell me a little bit about Shrek.
It's an amazing show.
I was so
awesome.
I was so pissed that I couldn't audition for it.
It's fun. The show's funny, and the show's and it's based off the movie. But they basically rewrote some of the dialogue, and then they added actual music to it. And then it's kind of just it's a musical comedy. So it's big, it's bold, it's got really funny moments, and you know we've been working on it Just for a little bit. I just got on it after piano lesson, so I just started working this week really on it. So.
You call it a cracked fairy tale.
Kind of. It's a cracked,
Why?
fractured fairy tale.
Tell me.
Well, my idea is you have all these people in story time land and fairy tale land, and they've all just kind of been there for a little too long.
So they're a little bit past
So they're a little past their due date. And that's kind of the idea with like we're doing, a little bit with the costumes and a little bit with everything else is just, a lot of these characters are just kind of a little weird. But not weird enough where like it will make like all the families see it feel kind of odd about the show, but more like if you're an adult, you just kind of sit there and be like, that's funny. Okay, that one's funny right there.
Yeah. So it's not over the top Rocky Horror Picture Show.
No, not over top. It's subtle.
All right, subtle.
Cast a.
So is Shrek. Shrek
Yeah.
is subtle too.
Yeah, no, it's the same kind of humor, absolutely. So it'd be a big family show, but definitely some stuff there for adults to really enjoy, I think.
Right on. What's your favorite part so far?
My favorite part probably has to be Ducky sings a song called "Make a Move" with 3 blind mice backing him up, and it's like a bad dream girl /
Really?
Gladys Knight in the Pit moment, and it's really funny to me because he's just James Browning it up too, so it's
Or Bruno Marsing it up now.
Bruno.
no. I think James Brown did it
Do
first.
you like my Joe Namath? My tribute to Joe Namath?
Yeah, I
today?
like
Do you
it. I like it.
Yeah.
Or Macklemore.
She has,
Jeez.
what the audience watching doesn't understand is she has nothing underneath that coat.
I don't.
That's
Honestly, I
just-
really don't.
that's
I
the
don't
Joe
have any.
Namath.
I'm wearing it as a dress.
I like it.
Courtesy of Zig and Zag.
Yes.
Corey Strauss.
Corey Strauss
Yeah.
opens the sword.
Yeah.
Zig and Zag.
Zig and Zag.
Who is
Helping
White
to
Rabbit.
White Rabbit and
And-
helping to design the costumes.
Yes, costuming. Yeah.
So
yeah.
he's done a great job, and the costumes all look crazy
costumes
and
are
weird, and they're fun. Yeah,
fantastic.
they're fun.
They're
so
awesome. They're awesome.
we have a good time.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna wrap up because I know you guys have rehearsal.
Yes.
Always something.
Mm-hmm.
Always something. But I really appreciate you guys being on.
Wow.
It's awesome. And GB, we will have you back.
Cool.
We'll have you sing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Yeah. Maybe we'll have you back like in donkey years. Maybe we'll have you and Stephen
Mussolini.
And
Moose.
we'll have you guys. We'll have
Sally.
you guys do a song.
Sure.
That'd
Yeah.
be cool.
You can do travel song.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you guys for coming. It's awesome. So piano lesson this weekend, Friday,
Come see
Saturday,
it.
and Sunday.
Yes.
Yes, tickets $22 adults. It's what, $10 kids, 12 and under?
Yeah, 12 and under.
12 and under. Okay, and I would recommend taking kids. I really would. This is like.
Yeah, there's nothing really about the show. Like I said, there's a couple language moments, but there's nothing else about the show that's I
It's
would
the
call
N
really
word.
inappropriate.
And
Yeah.
I really do, and I think culturally, I think it's
Yeah.
it's just such a powerful show. Seniors are it's
$20.
$20. Okay, great, and students 12.
12, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So come out and see it. And Shrek opens February 28th. So
Yep.
okay,
See that
awesome.
too.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Next week we will have Corey Strauss, where I got this wonderful Joe Namath tribute jacket, Zig and Zag. Also, costume director for Playhouse. You can tell I love Playhouse.
Right? Yeah.
Thank you guys. Cheers. Yay.
Cheers.
All right. Yeah. Just
Imaginary.
silent cheers.
Imagine-
Yay.
imagine.
All right. Take care. I'll do RC's line now. I'm going to go have a cigarette.